Well, welcome everyone. I'm down here in Hampshire at the Four Seasons Hotel. We've been a big Sage event last night with all the leadership team down here. And so I've been schmoozing, I think is the word, and just meeting everyone for the first time in some cases. And I've already met some of them before. I'm just going to share this with you. Obviously, I'm behind the scenes with Sage, and it's easy to see kind of this corporate PLC facade. And what you don't necessarily see is all of the real people behind it, people who genuinely care, who are constantly talking about how can we impact the industry, how can we serve people better, how can we help them, and genuinely working tirelessly to deliver that, and just really passionate people. So it's great for me to see that. I'm going to help them to share that so everyone else gets to see it as well, and not just the big PLC sign on the front of it. So, but you have to take my word for it for now. There we go. Okay. So let me just share my screen. I've got a presentation today, guys. So up until now, we've been working through kind of the mindset, looking at what the issues have been around why you need to increase fees, what's going to prevent you from doing it. Really, so you understand the problem better. And we've started to chip away at some of the mindset, because the reality is actually going and sitting with an increase in a client's fee, as Michael has talked about there, is relatively straightforward. That's kind of the easy part. And if you just look at what he's done there, he's increased a client's fee from £200, £276 to £600 a month, per month, just checking that, which is enabling him to speak with the client more regularly, deliver the other services more efficiently. So not only is he has an increase from 2.7, so a doubling of fees, it'll have an increase of the percentage of his profit margin as well in that, because of the bookkeeping services he's now providing. It was an existing client, so you don't have the costs of bringing a new client on board, the uncertainty of when you get a new client and kind of lifting the bonnet of their business and realizing that it's not quite what you thought it was going to be. And not only that, having to learn personalities and all the different people and all the different problems you're going to encounter, which is a huge upheaval, in my opinion. This is an existing client. This is a known entity, and he's going to be serving the client to a higher level. And if you notice the phrase that Michael said, he didn't bat an eyelid. Like, very often when people leave these type of meetings, you build it up to be something really difficult in your mind, and you think this client's never going to accept this. And I've had feedback from clients afterwards when they've left meetings like that, and their only thought is, why haven't they offered me this sooner? Like, if the services that can genuinely help me, that can save me time, that can give me information quicker, that can help me to make more informed decisions about my business faster, why on earth haven't you presented that to me before now? And that is genuinely some feedback that you may get when you start to do this. And a lot of the fear is just in your mind. So, as you know, I've been working on my book, which is all around this. So I'm going to make sure that everyone that's attended these sessions gets a copy of the book as soon as it's released. But 90% of that, 95% of that book is all about why you're scared to death of increasing fees, what the actual issues are that's going to prevent you from doing it. And the actual implementation of that is relatively straightforward. What we're going to be focusing on today is the implementation, the practical element of, right, hopefully you're in a good state of mind. I'm sure there's more work that we can do with you on it, and I will do. But right now, how does the rubber actually hit the road? How do we go out and get those client meetings scheduled? How do we sit with the client? What do we say to them when we sit with them? And what's the questions that are going to come back? Now, the reason why I think this is so pertinent at the moment, guys, is in the GoProposal community this week, there was a question. Let me just pull this up just to remind myself, by Rebecca. And it was a brilliant question. And she put, what is the general feeling around fee increases this year? Would be grateful to hear what other accountants are doing. Many thanks. Great question. Okay. And you could read that question and just think it's just a general question. But I picked up on another word in there, which was this year. So it wasn't what's everyone doing around fee increases. It's what's the general feeling around fee increases this year. The question was loaded. It implied that maybe we shouldn't be increasing fees this year because of all the uncertainty in the world. Kind of, we're on the, we're feeling the aftermath effects of COVID. Businesses may be struggling. So I really sensed that question was loaded. And when I started to read the responses from everybody, everyone was like, oh, we're putting it up in line with inflation. And I kind of stopped everyone and said, I need to caution you against this. If you're only thinking that we want to increase our fees in line with inflation, if that's what you want to do, then that's cool. But you need to be self-aware as to why you would do that. And very often the reason why people do that is because they're afraid of actually doing anything else. And I actually think to approach that, to have a blanket approach to say we're only going to increase fees in line with inflation, is to actually avoid difficult conversations with clients. Because let's say, for example, you do pension payments for clients or you run payroll for clients. Maybe there's more complexity now around that you have to do more work. There's more checklists that you've got to go through in order to be able to deliver that to the correct standard. Maybe there's certain services where HMRC are requesting more things from you, or your professional body is demanding that you operate to a higher level. Well, all of that has increased. Wages have increased. House prices have increased. Everything is increasing. And so if you're just keeping things in line with inflation, you're actually holding yourself back in some areas. And it may be that service there needs to double in price. That service can move in line with inflation. This one needs to move in line with staff salary increases, right? There's so many different factors that go into this. So just to have that blanket approach, to my mind, avoids a real interrogation of what you should be doing, and avoids you upskilling yourself, getting yourself more confident and learning the type of things that I'm sharing with you here, guys. So it's really important that we have that awareness as we move through this. So I'm just going to share my screen and load up my presentation. Here we go. The bulletproof renewal meeting agenda. I think I can come up with a better title than that. It kind of does what it says on the tin, but I think there's a better, quirkier title. Charlie, if you can just make a note to come up with a better title for this in the future, but this is what it is. But it's how to comfortably increase fees with existing clients. The first thing you've got to do before you can actually have the meeting and have the conversation with the client is you've got to schedule the meeting, okay? I don't know if it's schedule or schedule. We'll go with schedule. So you got to schedule the meeting. If you don't get that meeting booked in the diary, the rest of everything else I'm saying is going to fall flat. And I've just spoken to a firm this morning, actually, and their first difficulty is scheduling the meetings. So my first question is, well, are you avoiding doing that? Are you avoiding doing what you need to do because you're scared of the meetings? Or is your current process not working? Do you need to challenge that? And I really had to push them to look at where their current system of how to schedule meetings just isn't working. So one thing you can do is you can tack it on to the end of an essential meeting. So what we're trying to do here, when I say meetings, we're talking about, I don't like the word fee review. I think fee review is a bad phrase, because the moment you say we're doing a fee review with the client, the only thing that the client hears is you putting my fee up. So they will come in on the defensive. This is actually a very basic level, a service review. It's how can we review the service we're providing you? So don't call this a fee review with a client. Call it a service review, call it an impact review, whatever you want to call it something positive, but a fee review is not what this should be, okay? So what you can do is you can tack it onto the end of an essential meeting. So if they have their year end coming up, a year end meeting or a VAT return or something like that that's scheduled in that they have to turn up to, it's easy then just to say, right, while we've got you here, we're going to be moving you through your service review, your annual service review or your quarterly service review or whatever that may be. So tacking onto this at the end of an essential meeting means the client will already be booked into that. You've got to make it clear to the client up front that that's what you're doing. You don't want to spring that surprise onto them, but it's just a nice way of moving it through. The next one is you can send out automated emails to get them booked in. Again, you've got to decide on the speed that you want to do this. If you want to be quite aggressive, you could think, right, we're going to get all of our client meetings booked in over the next 3 months. It doesn't matter when their year end is. We're way behind with what we should be charging. Let's just go for it. I know of one accountancy firm and they hadn't increased their fees for 7 years. And some of their clients were like startups at the start of it all and were now multi-million-pound turnover businesses, and they were still paying the same fee as when they were a startup. And this is a prominent firm. This would be a firm that you would have heard of. And they just had to go for it as fast as possible. So they literally blanket emailed all of the clients, said, we're increasing your fees. We need to schedule a meeting with you to go through it. Some of them, they just increased their fees, and others, they actually had to have a conversation with them because there was a significant increase in fees. So you've got to decide how you want to move through your client base. And there's different ways of breaking that down. Do you want to focus on the clients who are, massively undercharging, that you're undercharging right now, who you don't care if you lose them? or do you want to go for it more of a kind of in a time sense of let's just do this over the next 12 months as their year ends come up? Entirely up to you. The other thing you can do is use some technology to set those appointments. So we would use Calendly, because the beauty of Calendly is you can set time aside in your diary to say, right, every Thursday, this group of staff here, these 3 members of staff are going to be doing service reviews with our clients. So you can literally send that email out to all of your clients if you wanted to, or to a chunk of clients in one go, and they would only be able to book available slots on the Thursdays for the next 3-4 months or whatever it may be. Depending on what system you use to send out automated emails, you could keep those reminders going until they've actually booked the meeting in the diary. That's entirely up to you. But if you've not used Calendly, you need to. Like, you need some automated appointment meeting setting system in your accounting business anyway. And we find Calendly to be really useful, quite cheap. You can have group bookings, you can have individual bookings. There's all sorts of things you can do there. So Calendly works really well, guys, but you need something. Here's something else to consider as well. If you've got team members chasing your clients up and booking meetings in the diary, it's a grind, right? It's hard work to keep ringing someone up, to keep hitting, voicemails, to maybe frustrate someone or annoy someone if you're ringing them up and they're about to go into a meeting or whatever. It can just be tiring. Like if I said to you, right, guys, you've got 100 phone calls that you've got to make over the next 2 days, it would just wear you down, right? Only to get 10% book the meetings. I need you absolutely firing on all cylinders and at your top of your game in the meeting. I don't want you tiring yourself out booking the meeting. So what we use in GoProposal is Moneypenny. Moneypenny is a fantastic service. None of these services, by the way, I get commission for, or there's no like kickback to us. They're just things that we use. Other services and systems apply. You can check those out. But I love Moneypenny. They're based in Wales. They're like the friendliest group of people you've ever heard. Their values are very much aligned with ours, which we like, why we like them. They have 2 services. One is they'll receive inbound calls for you. So if you call GoProposal today, you won't speak to us, you'll speak to Moneypenny, but they will answer it as though they're GoProposal. And then they'll message us and say someone needs a call back, and they'll ring you straight back. The team will ring you straight back. The other thing they do there is you can get them to schedule appointments for you. So if you give them this list of customers and say, right, I want all of these booked in this next month or whatever, they will go and they will schedule those appointments. They won't annoy people. They'll be so friendly as they do it. And it just saves you time. The other beauty about using those guys versus someone internally is, let's say, for example, you have a month in the year where you need to really crank the number of calls up. So you need to have 200 calls done this month versus 50 calls next month. You can adapt the resource as you need it. And they're really good. They'll learn about your business. They can assign you a specific person if you want to. We have one person that works with us for GoProposal. So they've learned, they can answer loads of questions. And they actually use our Calendly system. So when they ring up, they then go onto Calendly and book the meeting in the diary for that client, which then triggers off the rest of the automation. So just something to consider there, guys, but it works really, really well. Any comments or any questions on any of that? You need a really good strategy around this. And I think it starts probably with a spreadsheet. So get your clients out of whatever system you're in, get them into a spreadsheet, figure out who you need to tackle first, get their phone numbers. You've got to get the phone numbers in the system, and then figure out who's going to be making these calls. But just remove any reason why these calls aren't going to be getting made, guys. And like I say, a combination of automated emails, Calendly, and Moneypenny, you could absolutely smash all of these out of the park. Right, a possible email script, and all of these I'll send you through afterwards, guys. You don't have to you can screenshot it if you want, but it would be something like this. Hi, every year we carry out a full service fee review with each client. This ensures we're able to continue to provide you with the highest levels of service and to find out if there's anything more we can be doing for you. I've got an extra paragraph in here, which is if you do use GoProposal and you use Oversuite, therefore you're using a new engagement letter, then that's another really good reason to be issuing this, because this, in this sentence here, this year's review is especially important because we're reissuing you with a new engagement letter, and we have new terms and conditions which are designed to better protect you, your business, and ourselves, to more clearly outline our respective responsibilities. So that's another reason why you would have to get this done. So I think that's another good thing to leverage. So we can continue to act for you. it's quite a nice line here because it just puts a bit of pressure on them, because then it puts a bit of fear in their mind thinking, well, would you not act for us if we don't do this? Your renewal must be completed by this date. So please choose a time that best suits you here. Many thanks. PS, if I hadn't heard from you by the end of the week, a member of my team will call you to get this booked in. So you've kind of warned them that if they don't, it's happening anyway. It's got to happen. They don't have a choice. If they don't do it, someone's going to call them. So you might as well just book in now. So that is a nicely worded email. And I'm always very mindful of language. There can be no uncertainty. It's not, we'd like to do this with you. Would you be happy to get this booked in? It's no, this is happening. We must do it. You're either going to book it in yourself or I'm going to call you. But either way, this is happening. What do you want to do? So that's a really nice email script that we've seen to work. So we'll get that shared with you. When you're in the actual meeting itself, this is the blueprint that I would go through with someone that, again, we have worked with many, many firms on, and it's very, very effective. So the first thing to do is you've got to get your mindset right about this. You've got to know why you're doing it, why it's important, and go and watch my videos, go and read my book to help you to get into that mindset, or go back through the last videos that we've done over the last few weeks. The other thing is to prepare a draft proposal. The reason why I find this to be useful is it gets you in the right mindset, because you know if you've got a client, let's say, as Michael had there, that is currently paying you £276 a month, but they're going to be paying £600 a month at the end of that meeting, it's quite useful to know that. So it would be good to prepare that proposal, that meeting, to get the proposal prepared and ready for you before you go into that meeting with their current service offering. The next thing, and this is important, guys, at the start of the meeting, I would always communicate my positive intentions. Why are we actually doing this? What is the point of this? Okay. So my positive intention will be something like, we want to ensure we're providing you with the very highest level of service, and to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support you in the growth of your business and improving your personal financial situation, right? If you say that to someone and they're not happy about that, then that is not the right person for you. But the beauty about this is it gets you in the right mindset. That is why you're doing this. If you do have to increase their fee from £276 to £600 a month, it's because you want to provide them with the highest level of service. It's because you want to support them in the growth of their business, and you want to make them more money. That's why you're doing it. You are not doing this, which is the way that most firms approach this. We're doing a fee review, and the reason why we're doing it is because we want to make more money. Like, that's how it comes across. But if you communicate your intention, bearing in mind, they don't care about you. They only care about themselves. So the fact that you're saying to them, I want to improve your service level, our service level to you. I want to support you in the growth of your business and improving your personal financial situation. That is why we're doing this, guys. That is why you're having that conversation. So this is a really positive way to start any single meeting that now gives you permission to present to them whatever level of fees or services you want that is in line with that intention. So we prepared the proposal beforehand, so we know where it's going to be roughly. We have a positive intention. And then what we do is we frame it up. So this is my agenda for a meeting. This is how I'd go through it. So question one, I would ask them is, what's working well, right? Now, this is counterintuitive to what you will hear with most sales training, which I guess is what this falls under. But what they would say is, what are you struggling with? What are your challenges? Like, to my mind, that's the worst thing you want to start with. You don't want them to focus on everything that's wrong. Because if you get them to focus on everything that's wrong to start with, there's all this theory about get them to dwell on the pain, and then you swoop in and become the superhero in terms of how you're going to solve the problem. That's not how the human mind works. What happens if you dwell on the problem, you're actually dwelling on the mistakes they have made in the past, and now you want them to make a new decision moving forward. And the number one reason why someone will not pull the trigger and sign up at that higher fee is not because of the money. It's got nothing to do with the increased fee. It's because they don't want to make another mistake in their life. That is the number one reason why people won't sign up with you. So if you get them to dwell on their mistake in the first place, what's everything that's wrong? Tell me all the mistakes you've made in the past. Cool. I now want you to make another decision. What mindset do you think you put them in? One of absolute fear, where they're now petrified they're going to make another wrong decision. A far better way of approaching this is saying, tell me what's working well. Tell me everything you've got going right. What's been the highlights of the last 12 months or the last quarter? get them in a really good frame of mind to start with, and get them in a positive mindset about all the great decisions they've made, because now they're best placed to make another great decision with you when you present this new set of services at a higher fee. They'll be much more likely to say yes. Does that make sense, guys? So what's working well? Then you can ask them, what frustrations do you have, right? I'm not saying what mistakes have you made, what's going wrong, what are your challenges, what are your problems. I'm just asking you what your frustrations are, because it may be that it isn't a problem, it isn't anything going wrong, but you're just frustrated that this thing is taking up a lot of your time. So what frustrations do you have is a really good question to ask. Then, is there anything more we can be doing for you? Beautiful question. Is there anything more that we can be doing for you? This invites them, as Michael was talking about, to say, well, so let's say, for example, with Michael's question that he was asking, they could have said some positive things about the business. What frustrations do you have? Well, we're really struggling to complete all of our bookkeeping. It's taking up so much of my time. I'm working late on a Friday afternoon. I'm not getting home on time because I'm taking all of this up. Is there anything more we can be doing for you? Well, if you could complete all of my bookkeeping for us, it would save me, heaps of time and loads of headspace. So that is how that conversation might run. Then what you want to do is, and this is really important, guys, recap. Recap what you believe you have just heard from that client. So don't just move on. Don't just plow on then with a service review. Actually go back, because what's really important is people want to feel heard. People want to feel listened to. It's not just that they want you to understand them. It's not just that they want you to understand them. They want to feel understood. That's a very different thing. They want to feel understood. So a good thing to go back is, so let's say you've made the notes on those things. Okay, so what I've heard from you is, what's working well is, I don't know, the new product that you've just launched, or the new thing that you just started selling is going really well and is increasing your revenue. The number one frustration you have is that you're not finishing work on time on a Friday, and you think that's connected to your bookkeeping. And what you believe that we could really help you with is to take all of that bookkeeping off you to free you and your team up to focus on the things that's going to really drive the business forward. Is that my understanding? Have I understood that correctly? Yeah. It's a really nice but important step in this entire process, guys, because if there is something that you've not understood, you want that clarifying there and then. You don't just want to go blindly into now presenting a set of services, because that's when you can become misaligned. So it's worth just asking that question to make sure that you have understood them correctly. Again, guys, does that all make sense? Then what we need to do, we then need to review the proposal that you are now showing them. So you're now going to propose a new set of services to them, potentially. It may be that it's the same set of services. That's a possibility, but likely there will be some extra things in there as well. So what we want to do is present that set of services and get agreement at every step. And I'll actually take you through an example in a second of how you would do that. Introduce any new services to them that's come out of the framing section of the conversation. Present your new fee to them, and then shut up, right? And hopefully, Karina and everyone else, it just makes sense. Like, I don't believe in any weird sales psychology. To my mind, the way you start and improve any relationship is the way you start and improve every relationship. The way you improve a relationship with a friend, with a partner, a significant other, a client, they're all very similar. It's about trust, transparency, honesty, kind of long-term thinking, and genuinely in the service of others and trying to help other people. There's nothing weird in this. Sometimes it does require a courageous conversation sometimes, but then any relationship does if you want to improve it and make it the best it can be. And that's all this is. I've got no sales training. I've never done any of that formal sales stuff because I don't believe in it, but I am good at building strong relationships with people just by trying to be a good human being. So that's kind of what I try and bring to this, guys. So let me share my screen. So I'm using GoProposal for this. If you use GoProposal like Michael, you will be aware of this. If you don't use it, you want to go and check it out, cool. If you have another system that you use, fine, stick with that. But let me just show you the principles. So what I would have done to start with is, let's say I've got a client here and I know what their revenue range is. Before I've even been into that meeting, I would have been through the services that I'm already providing them. So let me just put a few services in here just to give you an example. 7 members of staff on there. Let's put a bit of software in here as well. There we go. Get a calculation. So before you've gone into that meeting, I would kind of want to know roughly where they are already with what they're currently paying. And then when you've then been through that framing section of the conversation, what I would now do is pull up this proposal again. And if their revenue has increased, I'd be using that as a factor because that will increase certain fees within the system. But then as Michael's conversation might have gone, it might be, okay, well, you've said that you want to free up time on a Friday by us raising invoices for you and doing all of your bank rec for you. And you have this number of items, you have one bank account. Is that right? Like, you want to get confirmation at every step. Have I understood that right? Is that what you want me to do? Yes. Fantastic. Next thing, annual accounts. So let's say, for example, their annual accounts were down here. And this is a factor for us, the quality of their record keeping. What you could now say is, well, because we're doing that for you, we can actually lower the price of this service slightly because now the quality of your record keeping is going to be excellent because we're going to get all the information we need. So I'll be able to lower that price slightly for you. You've got 2 new members of staff on your payroll. And you've also said that you want us to do monthly management accounts for you as well moving forward. And the reason you said you want us to do that is because you want to get more information faster about in your business so you can make more informed decisions this year moving forward. Is that right? Is that my understanding? Fantastic. So I'm getting confirmation at every step so that by the time I get to the end of it here and we get the calculation, the price is now just a formality because they've agreed all of the things that they want on that way. Okay. So when you get to this point, and we had a funny thing in the GoProposal community this week, which this person went against everything I've said, but it actually worked really well. They got to the end of they got to this process here and the fee had increased by 50% or something like that. And she wasn't ready for it. Okay. So she presented it to the client. She got to this point. She hit recalculate. The fee maybe 50% or doubled or something like that. And she said, that's expensive. Like, it surprised her. That's expensive. It's like, no, shut up. Don't say anything. Thankfully, the client said, well, I think it's reasonable, and signed up on the spot. And she couldn't believe it. So sometimes that fear in your head and you want to kind of say something, you could actually really cause yourself a problem. And it's not actually what the client's thinking. So this is my top tip. Guys, please, I hope you've got a pen and paper and you're making notes today. But this is, please, please, please write this one thing down. When you present the fee to the client, especially if it's an increase in fees, please write this down. Shut the hell up. You have got to shut up at that point and keep quiet. My best advice, and I do know people that do this, and they've told me about this, and it works, is sing a song in your head. Just pick a song. I don't care what song it is. Just sing the song in your head and sit quiet. There's a real danger here, especially if there is silence, that you feel the need to fill the gap, because what you can do is you think that silence means something. So you've now presented a doubling in fees, okay? The client's gone quiet. You then assume that it's because they don't like it. You leave it for 5 seconds, and then you try to fill it and say, we can take something out if we need to. If it's too much for you, we can. Shut up. They've just gone quiet. They are just processing what you have presented them. So just sit quiet and leave them. Let them speak first. And they may say, it's fine. They may say, it's more than I thought. They may say, we can't spend that much. That is just beyond what we can spend. To which my response would be, okay, cool. Is there something that you want to take out? Is there a service that we can lower? So for example, if they were to say that, and that really is the worst case scenario, is they may say, well, look, let's reduce monthly management accounts to quarterly for now. Let's have a look at that. 650. How does that look? Does that work for you? So I'm just trying to get this to work for them. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to reduce any fee. I'm not going to drop my price. And if they were to remove something, well, let's take the bookkeeping out. Okay, we can take the bookkeeping out, but you've said this is taking up your time on a Friday and you're not able to focus on core business activities and you're not able to see your family. So I'm just going to challenge you on that and say, which is more important, spending an extra £200 a month on that, or spending time on your business? please let me know what it is that you want to do, because that was my understanding of our conversation. Again, it's just a very factual thing. There's no emotion. I'm not trying to push them into it. I'm just reminding them of what they said, okay? So that is how the conversation would go. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be happy, and then you can go ahead and complete the proposal. So that would be my process there, guys, is how I would talk them through that. Any questions on that part? I'm just going to whiz back to my presentations. Give me a second. Looks like positive magic with a blend of psychology. Yeah, I think so. But I think with psychology, it's logical psychology is what I would say. It's just confirming. I'm like, ask you some very, useful questions. I'm getting clarity on the answers to those questions. You've confirmed it. I'm now confirming the services that allow us to deliver what it is that you want. And then this is the fee. There's no emotion in the fee part, guys. It's like if you go to a restaurant and you say, well, I want one of these, this side order of fries, all this stuff, right? At the end of it may be expensive, but the price is the price. And the other thing, I would ask you all this. I'm actually putting in a chat here. How many times have you ever bought something that was more than you wanted to pay for it? Have you ever seen something and thought, that is expensive. That is more than I am happy to pay. And guess what? You bought it anyway. You might have waited a while. You might have waited a few weeks. I did it this week. There was a leather bag I wanted, a leather hold-all. And I looked at it a few months ago and it was like 500 quid. And it was coming from America, but it is beautiful. Like, has a lifetime guarantee, handmade, beautiful tan leather. And I looked at it and I parked it. I thought, I can't justify spending that much on a bag for myself. Left it. I've come to this event at this hotel, beautiful hotel. I saw it on the website and I thought, I can't be turning up with our suitcase from TK Maxx. What am I doing? And then I went and bought it. So it took me a month or two to process it in my head, but I still went back and got it anyway, even though it was more than I wanted to spend. And I know I love it. And very often when you've had to go through that thought process and thought it is more than I want to spend, it does seem expensive, but you know what? I'm going to go with it. Very often, those things that you buy at that point are the things that you love and cherish the most. They're the services that you value the most. I've done it recently with our drive. We've had a new drive done, and it was like 10 grand to get it done. Our old drive was okay. Our path was okay. Our front garden was okay. And when they started doing it, I thought, why have we done this? It's an extra expense. Do we really need to do it? We're going to move relatively soon. Should we have done it? The quality of the work these guys have done, I'm so happy I've brought them in. And I'm like, this is money well spent. Like, again, difficult decision, more than I wanted to spend. But when you see the quality, then you're more than happy at the end of that. And I'm sure we've all got examples of when we've done that in our life, guys. Right, let me bring you back to the presentation. So the blueprint, we've been through that. Frustrations, review the proposal, get agreement at every step, present the fees, shut up, shut the hell up. Right, make a note of that. Sing a song in your head. Handle any questions they've got. Get acceptance or confirm the next steps. I don't say handle objections because there may not be objections. Sometimes people say something and you interpret it as an objection, but it's not. It's just a question. Get acceptance and confirm the next step, and finish off by restating your positive intention. The question you are all the most afraid of, guys, is this one. Why have my fees gone up? So you've got to the end of the process. It may even be that it's the same set of services that they had last year, okay? It may be there's some extra things in there, which is more likely if you've been through this process correctly. They are then going to say to you, why have my fees gone up? And that is the question that everybody on this call is ultimately afraid of being asked and not knowing how to answer. Well, I've got the answers here for you that you can use. What I would suggest you do with these answers, and you're all going to cringe at this, and I need you to suck it up and do it anyway, is role play it. So this is role playing it with your staff, role playing it with your significant other. And to my mind, it's like martial arts. The reason why people do martial arts and train a punch or train a block week in, week out is because one time in their life, they may have to have a fight. And the principle is train hard so that the fight is then easy or avoided, right? Role playing is like martial art training. You're practicing so that when you actually get into if it turns into a fight, which is very unlikely, with a client, it actually becomes quite easy, right? Because you know exactly what they're going to do. There's only so many ways someone can hit you. There's only so many punches that someone can throw at you. And once you've learned all those blocks, actually getting into the fight is relatively straightforward. So why have my fees gone up? The answer that you need to learn is this. It's a combination of factors. That's it. That is why the fees have gone up. It will always be a combination of factors. Why have my fees gone up? It's a combination of factors. But mainly, it's to enable us to keep giving you the high level of service that you want from us. That's it. Okay. So the short answer is a combination of factors. The elaboration is the fact that it's to allow us to serve you to the level that you want us to serve you. But specifically, and then you would have to pick out from this list which ones have contributed to that fee increase. So let's go through them. We haven't reviewed your fees recently. Okay. So we should have done a fee review last year or last quarter, whatever. We will be doing this more regularly moving forward. Or it may be that, look, we've not reviewed your fees for 3 years. That's why your fees have gone up. And it's going to be more regular moving forward. So that's one of the factors. Your service levels increased. We're now doing bookkeeping for you. Your quarterly management accounts have gone to monthly. There will be a service level increase likely if you've been through the process correctly. You have additional services from us. So let me just clarify those 2 points there. A service level increase would be going from 7 members of staff on payroll to 9 members of staff on payroll, quarterly management accounts to monthly management accounts. So they've already got the service, but now they're getting more of that service or a greater frequency of that service, right? Additional services is now we're providing bookkeeping for you, and we weren't doing it before. So that's an example of that one. Your revenue has increased. Okay. So when your revenue increases, from our experience, what this means is we get more emails from you. We have more queries. We have to deal with HMRC. We have more questions there that come up. So from our experience, as revenue increases, there is more work that accompanies that. And so that we don't hit you with surprise bills throughout the year, there are a couple of services, 1 or 2 services that are affected by it. Not everything, not all services are affected by a fee increase. By a revenue increase, but some services such as annual accounts, such as VAT returns, we do have a small increase in service fee because we know from our experience that there's going to be more queries, more emails, more phone calls, etc. And we do not want to be that firm that is charging you for every email or charging you for every phone call. We want to encourage those phone calls from you. Complexity and regular requirements have increased. Explain what? So maybe that, like with furloughing last year, there was all extra, regulatory requirements that you had to do. Maybe it's something from your professional body. Maybe it's something from HMRC around MTD or ITSA, or because of Brexit, something's happened. There could be many things there that have increased your complexity. We've got additional staff, and again, explain the benefits to them. Look, we've taken on 3 new staff this year so that we've got extra expertise. We've got an FD level accountant now, so we can provide you greater insights in your monthly management reports. We've got an extra admin member of staff so that we can get everything scheduled with you and process all of your bookkeeping queries much quicker, or whatever it may be, right? But explain those extra levels of staff, but in a way that it benefits the client, so we can respond to your queries faster. We can provide you a greater level of expertise, etc. We'd price some services too low. This is one of them ones that you just have to hold your hands up to. Look, we made a mistake. We'd price some services too low, and we can't keep delivering at that rate because I respect the relationship too much. I want this relationship to work, and there is no way that we can keep delivering you that level of service at that price. It just doesn't stack up anymore. So we need to increase the fee of that. And finally, inflation, okay, which is the one that everyone uses. It's the one that everyone hides behind because they've done the 5% increase this year, right? But in actual fact, that is the last and probably most smallest contributor to a fee increase. Yeah. You're not going to go from £276 a month to £600 a month just on inflation alone. So that may be a factor that you need to put into there as well. Once you've given those answers, here's the most likely responses from all of my conversations with accountants and bookkeepers, from startup firms to top 4 firms, top 30 firms, top 100 firms in this country, in the US, in Norway, in Australia, in South Africa, in Ireland, in Canada. Like, it's the same stuff I hear time and time again from across thousands of different firms. These are your most likely responses. That's fine. 80% of the time will be, that's fine. Okay. And you're done. In 4% of cases, so I always think like your top 20% of clients, right? But then your 20% of your 20% is your 4%. They're your top performing your top performing clients. I've been waiting for you to do this, and I'm surprised you haven't done it sooner. I love it when I hear this response. Firms are so surprised when they hear this one. The next one is, I really didn't want to spend any more. Okay. I think that will be in about 15% of cases. I really didn't want to spend any more. That's not to say they won't. It's just to say they didn't want to at the start of this meeting. Remind them of the value. Remind them of what you've agreed with them and what they want in that framing section. If it needs to be lower, ask them what services they'd like to downgrade. Like you saw me going from monthly management accounts down to a quarterly. Is there a service you'd like to remove? But again, remind them of why it was included in the first place. That's why it's important to go through them step by step. And that's it. They're the only two responses you're going to provide them with, right? The 1% of cases, and I'm being aggressive with that, it will be like 0.2%, if I'm being honest, right? Depending on the size of your firm. But let's just be conservative and let's say in 1% of the cases, there's no way I'm paying any more. I'm not paying you any more than you have presented me there. I'm happy paying £276 a month. There is no way I'm paying £600 a month, okay, on that. Despite the fact that, they'll spend that on restaurant bills in a month, or they spend that on their car payments for their new flash Beamer they've got on the drive, or they're spending that money on other stuff. Their Sky TV package is probably more than that, right? But anyway, these same people, there's no way I'm paying any more than that. It's going to be 1% of the cases at the absolute worst. The response for this is, I totally respect that. So you can keep having what you're having, or you can keep paying what you're paying, but you can't have both. So if you've been through this and your services have increased, service levels increased, their revenues increased, they've got more members of staff, etc., it's just a dead straightforward response. Okay, we can keep having what you're having, or you can keep paying what you're paying, but you can't have both. So if you want to keep paying what you're paying, great. We're going to have to reduce your service level. We're going to have to reduce what we're doing for you. If price is the most important thing to you versus time, then what do you want to take out? Ask them what they'd like to downgrade and remove. If they say, I'm not happy with that, I'm leaving, explain that you're sorry, but that you'll make it easy for them to leave and actually offer some recommendations. We sometimes get caught up in the fact that we think, well, if they leave, who's going to serve them? What's going to happen to them? They're going to be on the streets and no one's going to be able to manage their accounts. There's plenty of accountants out there that can do it for them. What I would suggest you do is go and find the cheapest possible account. Google cheapest accountant in the UK, right? You'll find someone that will do annual accounts for 20 quid a month with software included. I promise you, they exist, okay? So say to them, look, if price is the most important thing, I found someone here for you, 20 quid a month. I don't know who they are. I don't know their level of service. I don't know whether they even talk to you. I don't know anything about them. But if price is the thing for you, I found the cheapest I possibly can. Let me send you the information through now. Help them out. I used to be a close-up magician, as some of you know. And if ever anyone asked me on price, it was very rare, or can I have a discount? I'd always say, absolutely not, but don't blame you for asking. But if price is the most important thing for you and your guests and at your wedding, right? I do know another magician that I can pass you the details for. He does like a drink, but he is cheap. Do you want his details? And I think I've only ever said that line once and they said no. And they signed up with me. So explain that. But like I say, it'll be very, very rare that you get that. Once you've done that, agree your outcomes of what you can help them to achieve with the framing section and restate your positive intention. Okay, so just to remind you, the whole reason we've been through this is that we want to ensure we're providing you with the very highest level of service and to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support you in the growth of your business and improving your financial situation. Why do we do that? I call it like an intention sandwich. You've got the intention at the start, the intention at the end. Is because the last thing I want them to be thinking about when they leave this meeting is that why we are doing this. I do not want them leaving the meeting being really upset that a fee has increased, or the last argument we've had as to whether something should be this price or not. I want them to leave understanding my genuine intention, because then if they are going to come and pay that extra amount at the end of it, then that's going to really help them to do that. We have got these sheets. Charlie, who's on the call with us, Charlie, we've got these in Canva if you want to go and grab these off and just share them with the group. Not now, but send them in an email afterwards. So these are just sheets that you can print out, guys, that you can use with you, that has the positive intention on, has the framing section in there, has the next steps in terms of what you need to do, and it has all of the answers in there as to why their fees have gone up. So if that would be useful for you, Charlie will get those and emailed out if you can do, Charlie. That'd be wonderful. Thank you. So we're here at the end of our 3 sessions. I have asked Morgan if we can fit another one in. Not yet, but like in a month's time, I think, or a couple of months' time. I'd just love to catch up with you to see what difference has happened. Has anything changed? What have you moved forward with? So we'll get that arranged. If you want to come on that session, you can do. But just to finish off with, guys, when I do any session like this, these are always my same 3 questions. What's the big thing that you know you need to do that you've perhaps been putting off, but which if you did would change everything for you? Okay. Write that thing down for me, please. What's the big thing that you need to, you know you need to do? It might be difficult. It might require a change of mindset, whatever. But if you actually did that thing, would have the biggest impact on your business right now. It may be to reprice all of your clients. It may be to get rid of these 3 difficult clients, or that 1 difficult client, whatever it may be. What is that 1 big thing you need to do? Next thing, what's the small thing you could do right now that would take very little effort, that would really start to propel things forward? Is it if you're not in GoProposal, is it to go check out a trial of GoProposal? If you're within GoProposal, is it to go and check out Oversuite and get a trial of that and the new engagement letters? Is it to grab the phone number of one of your clients right now and ring them and say, we need to get a meeting in the diary? Is it to sign up for Calendly? Is it to send an email to Moneypenny and go and check out that service there? Whatever it may be, what would be that small thing that you could do that's relatively easy right now, but you can go and do it? And then the final thing is, what can you do right now? Like in the next 3 minutes, okay? So if anyone ever says to me, I think you should read this book. So I was on a call with someone this week. They recommended a book to me. While I'm on the call with them, I'm going to go on my phone and I'm going to buy the book. I just picked up my phone there. Oh my goodness. My leather bag is being delivered tomorrow at 10:15 in the morning. How have they got that so quickly to me from the US? I'm so excited about that. I'm going to share. Make sure you follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm going to share my picture of my new leather bag so you can see it. Anyway, what was I saying? Phone. I can't remember what I was saying now, guys. Something to do with my phone. Can someone remind me, what was I saying, Charlie? Anyway, something to do with your phone. Order a book. Thank you, Chelsea, for paying attention. Sticky badge to Golden Star to Chelsea. I ordered the book there and then on Amazon. It was with me the next day. A parcel came in the door. I forgot what I'd even ordered it. It's there. And within the next 3 days, I'd read the book. So by the time I spoke to this lady again the following week, the book came up. Oh, did you check out the book? Yeah, I've read it. I finished it. Like, what's next? So I'm always minded to take action whilst I'm in a positive mindset. Hopefully today has been motivational. You've got something from it. Hopefully I've managed to raise your motivation. You feel fired up. You want to do something about it. That will start to dwindle. Okay. Over the course of today, over the next hour, by Friday, it will start to taper off. So whilst you're in this state of mind right now, go and take some positive action, because that actually starts the momentum. That actually starts the motivation to take the next step. And if it's something small, set the bar low is what I say. That's the best thing you can do, because all you need to do right now is take 1 step forward. At the end of these sessions, if you take 1 step, your situation, your world, your finances, whatever, are better than they were a few weeks ago. Does that make sense, guys? So go and take that action right now, or certainly within 5 minutes of this ending. Okay. I'm just going to go through a few questions. If anyone's got anything, then I will do my very best to answer them. Prices are up on everything. Can we suggest to get our fees up and help the client to increase their prices? 100%. you're a business, Karina, and to say to clients, look, all these things are pushing prices up. We're moving our prices up, and I'm going to help you to do the same. Like, absolutely. It's such a positive message versus meeting an accountant who's saying, we're reducing our fees, we're lowering our costs because of all this negativity in the world, because of all this doom and gloom. Geez, you are not my accountant. I do not want to be working with you. I want the accountant that is driving a nice car, that is putting their fees up. Because I think if you're achieving success in your business for yourself and making more money, you've now got the best chance of helping me. It is not selfish, it is selfless to do that, because I know how difficult it is to go and do this, but it's the way that you can have the greatest impact on your clients. So yeah, great point, Karina. The other thing you said is, what is your opinion on the role of the website in the sales strategy? And what would be your suggestions on the type or appearance which works best? Go and check out other people's websites. Go and check out wearemap.co.uk. So that's the firm that I'm a director of in Manchester, wearemap.co.uk, which is really good. Northern Accountants, really love those guys. They've got a really interesting website. Pilot in America. So that is not an accountancy firm, I don't believe. I think that's like a different approach of accountancy and kind of potentially threatens the accountancy industry. But I think their website is brilliant. Like, the way they communicate things is very good. I don't believe having pricing on a website, which I will come on to, but there are some great examples of websites out there, guys. But they should be very aspirational. Don't have a picture of a calculator on a website. Don't have a picture of spreadsheets. Do not have a picture of graphs and sheets and stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's the reason I'm coming to you. Show me a successful business owner. Show me a picture of a business owner leaving work early, playing golf, having fun with his family, because that's what I'm trying to achieve. Aspirational imagery is far better. Tell me the benefits you're going to get. You don't want to have prices on your website. You don't want to even have indicative costs. What I would say on there, you can have a pricing page on your website, and all you need to put on a pricing page on a website is pricing is complex. Pricing is complicated because of the nature of the service that we deliver, the complexity of the service we deliver, and the complexity of businesses, and everyone's at a different stage and requires different things from us. What I can guarantee is a transparent and fair pricing policy, which we will agree with you, so you feel comfortable every step of the way, and you can show them how you do that. So you don't need to go into the specifics of what things are, but how you approach it is a different way. If you do have a minimum monthly fee and you want to get rid of the time wasters, you could put that on there, but that's the only thing I would ever put on there. Rachel, we've had 2 clients over the last couple of weeks asking for a price decrease because their workload and number of transactions have decreased over the last few months. We have reassessed and did lower their cost, but if this happens again, how should we reply? If you have elements of your pricing, Rachel, such as like bookkeeping or payroll, so you actually, if they've got more transactions going through, you increase their fees. And if they've got more members of staff, you increase that service fee. Likewise, if that decreases, then you decrease that as well. So I think you should have a system that flexes with some regularity, but it should be you agreeing the regularity, not the client. So if you do quarterly reviews, for example, then that is the level of frequency you do it. What you don't want to have is a client ringing you this month and say, well, my fees have gone down my transactions have gone down this month. Can I have a fee reduction this month? No, we review it next quarter, moving forward, because you've got to and they've got to appreciate seasonality. So you can have that flex. It's got to be on your terms. So if it's quarterly, do it quarterly. Don't just let a client railroad you into doing it monthly. And the other thing I would say is always, you can still set a minimum monthly fee. You can set a minimum monthly fee across the board. So even if their service levels decrease to a point where it's, I don't know, let's say you set a minimum monthly fee of 300 quid a month, and now they've dropped, so they think they should be paying 250 quid a month. It's like, well, yeah, but our minimum monthly fee has kicked in now, and we don't have any clients less than 300 quid a month. Or let's say with payroll, for example, you may charge, and again, I'm not saying you should charge this, I'm just putting it out there as an example, 20 quid to run the first person's payroll, right? And let's say, for example, you charge 20 quid to run each person for the first 5, and then it drops to £10. It could be 50 quid a month for the first person, 20 quid a month for the next 4, and 10 quid a month everyone thereafter. So if you have 6 members of staff on payroll, it would be 50, Add 20, add 20, add 20, add 20, add 10. That's how you would price it. So just because they've got they've lost 2 members of staff, the price doesn't necessarily fall accordingly because you may have those other factors in there. Or with bookkeeping, for example, you could have a minimum monthly fee on bookkeeping, which is £100 a month, and then a transactional charge afterwards. And so even if it's dropped, it's never going to drop below the £100. So again, you just need to make sure, it's a long-winded answer that, Rachel, sorry, that you're in control. Okay. So I do agree in flexing. If you've got a methodology where the price increases because you're doing more for them this quarter, you've also got to respect the fact that if it comes down, it goes down. You set the frequency and you set minimum monthly fees as well, either overall or on a specific service. That was my quick summary, Rachel, that I went on for about 5 minutes there. Hopefully that was useful. Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for joining me on these last 3 sessions. I really hope you've got something from it. Taking notes is one thing, but taking action is the only thing that's actually going to move you forward. So you've got to do something. Otherwise, these 3 sessions have been a complete waste of time. Whatever that thing may be, only needs to be a small step, but I would just really encourage you to change it. Whenever we put sessions like this on, I'm not just trying to entertain you or inform you or motivate you. We're trying to make a difference. And to my mind, unless you're saving some time, or I've removed some freed up some headspace for you, I've given you some energy back, or you're making some more money, or your clients are more positively impacted, unless one of them things is happening, then it's been a waste of time. So to my mind, be outcome focused. Look at what difference you can make with your own business first and foremost. It's not selfish at all for you to preserve your time, preserve your energy, make more money is not selfish. It's the best thing you can do, because by putting yourself in the strongest position, guys, you are actually protecting your business from whatever turbulence is coming over the next few years. And I promise the turbulence is going to continue to come of the aftermath of what we've seen with COVID and the pandemic. So by you growing into your foundations, by increasing your fees, by learning these skills, by having these conversations with clients, you're actually making your business far stronger and putting you in a position where you can serve your clients to even greater degrees moving forward, and so that you can, best serve them and help them to build strong businesses too. So to my mind, it's the best thing you can do. But like I say, unless you take action, nothing changes. So figure out what that action is going to be. What's the big thing? What's the small thing? What's the thing that you're going to go and do now? Go and do it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. The recording will be shared with you, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.